Hi everyone, it's me, Hannah, and I'm back with another video, and it's the puppy place where every puppy finds a home, and the name of the puppy is Pugsley, and it's a scholastic book, and it's made by Ellen Miles. So let's get on with this book, and we'll be ready. Oops. Let's get on to the first chapter. Chapter 1. Dogs, dogs, dogs everywhere. Lizzie Peterson looked. She saw dogs, huge dogs and tiny dogs, curly-tailed dogs and long-eared dogs, and dogs with big fluffy tails. There were dogs that barked, and dogs that whined, and dogs that ran across the floor with their toenails clicking and their mouths wide open in huge doggy smiles. Lizzie was in heaven. She didn't know which dog to hug first, which one to pat, which one to tell, good dog. She tried to do it all. She leaned over to hug a big, gentle shepherd mix, held out a hand to pat the pushy nose of a white and brown terrier, and said, "Happy birthday, Max," to the goofy black lab who had brought over a stuffed clown to show her. It was Max's birthday. He was turning 2, and Lizzie had been helping to set up a doggy birthday party for him. "You sure do love dogs," said the woman standing next to Lizzie. "I sure do," Lizzie said, reaching out to pat another dog who had run over to visit. Lizzie smiled up at her Aunt Amanda, the owner of Bowser's Backyard. Aunt Amanda was tall and thin, with long curly red hair. She didn't look much at all like Lizzie's dad. Even though she was his little sister, Aunt Amanda and her husband, Uncle James, had lived in California for the last 10 years, so Lizzie had hardly ever met them except at one family reunion. Of course, Lizzie had heard lots of stories about dog crazy Amanda, but she never had a chance to get to know her aunt. That is, not until Aunt Amanda and Uncle James had moved to Littleton. Aunt Amanda had just opened her dream business, a doggy daycare, and it wasn't far from Lizzie's house. "And dogs love you too," her aunt added now. "I can see that you really have a way with animals." Lizzie felt she might burst with happiness coming from Aunt Amanda. That means a lot. Lizzie had been stopping by Bowser's Backyard at least once a week since it had opened. It was the first doggy daycare business in Littleton. At first, Lizzie wasn't sure what doggy daycare was. Aunt Amanda had explained that it was a place where people could bring their dogs for the day. The dogs could play safely there all day and get to know other dogs. Then their owners didn't have to leave them home alone while the people that is, went to work. With the help of her staff, Amanda cared for up to 30 dogs a day, including her own dogs. She and Uncle James had 2 adorable pugs named Lionel and Jack, plus a sweet old golden retriever named Bowser. Lizzie had never known a pug before, but as soon as she met Lionel and Jack, she understood why Aunt Amanda was pug crazy, as she called it. The two pugs were like little brown bundles of energy, with flat, wrinkly faces and curly corkscrew tails, and they were cuddly too. They were the funniest, cutest dogs Lizzie had ever met. Lizzie liked to talk about dogs, any kind of dogs, not just pugs, with Aunt Amanda. Of course, her aunt already knew all about how Lizzie and her family took care of puppies that needed homes. They kept them only until they found the perfect forever home for each one. The Petersons loved being a foster family. Lizzie also told Aunt Amanda about how she volunteered once a week at Caring Paws, the animal shelter. One day, Lizzie worked up the courage to ask Aunt Amanda for a job. "I have lots of experience," she said. I know a lot about dogs, but there is a lot more I want to learn." Lizzie knew that she was too young for a real job, but even a fourth grader like her could be a lot of help when it came to taking care of dirty dogs. "I'll do anything," she had said. "You don't even have to pay me. I just want to be here. And I love you, and I love having you here," Aunt Amanda had said. "You're a big help. How about this? We'll start one afternoon a week. Once we see how things work out, maybe you can come more often." And now on Lizzie's very first day, Aunt Amanda was smiling at Lizzie, telling her what a good job she was already doing. "I can see you'll be a good helper, Lizzie. I may even need you to come up to Camp Bowser with me one weekend. If we have a lot of campers." Camp Bowser! Lizzie couldn't believe her ears. Ever since she had first heard about Camp Bowser, Lizzie wanted to go there. What could be more fun than a sleepaway camp for dogs? When Aunt Amanda and Uncle James had moved from California, they also bought a cabin in the country. Every weekend they took 5 or 6 dogs along. When they went up to their country place, the dogs could run around in the big fenced area, swim in the brook, or even to do arts and crafts just like kids at a regular camp. Going to Camp Bowser would be the best thing that ever happened to Lizzie. Well, maybe the best thing, next to getting Buddy. Lizzie smiled as she thought of the little brown puppy that had come to live with her family. The Petersons had fostered lots of puppies. Lizzie and her brothers, Charles and the Bean, whose real name was Adam, had wanted to keep every single one, but Mom and Dad said that the Petersons weren't ready for a full-time dog. The Bean was just a toddler and needed lots of attention. Plus, Mom was more of a cat person. Then Buddy came along. The Petersons were caring for 4 dogs at the time. Lizzie had met a mother dog named Skipper, plus her 3 puppies, Cinnamon, Coco, and Buddy. At the shelter, Cinnamon and Coco were The girl puppies were very cute, and Lizzie was thrilled when they found forever homes. But it was different with Buddy. Buddy was special. He was a small puppy, the runt of his litter. He needed lots of love and attention. Everyone fell in love with Buddy. Lizzie, Charles, the Bean, Dad, and even Mom, and even especially Mom. When the time came to find Buddy a forever home, the Petersons all agreed that he would stay right there with them. Now Buddy was a part of the family. Buddy had gotten a little bigger, but he was still the cutest, sweetest pup Lizzie had ever met. He loved his soft puppy fur, his silky ears, and she loved to kiss the little white heart-shaped marking on his chest. Lizzie loved to take Buddy for walks and to teach him new tricks. His latest was roll over, and she just loved just lying with him on the couch, petting him while she read a favorite book. Lizzie loved everything about Buddy. But could Lizzie say goodbye to Buddy for a weekend while she went to Camp Bowser with Aunt Amanda and Uncle James? As long as she knew he would be there waiting for her when she got back, yes, she could. Wow, she said now to Aunt Amanda. I would love to come to Camp Bowser. Well, we'll see. Right now we have some doggy guests arriving for our party. Want to help me get them settled? Lizzie got to her feet and dusted off her hands. Absolutely, she said. Just then, the door to the play area opened. Amanda, they're here, called Josie, one of the other helpers. 4 dogs came through the door into the indoor play area where Lizzie and her aunt were waiting. A golden retriever that looked just like Bowser walked in slowly, sniffing the air. A black and tan mutt ambled along behind her, shaking his long, droopy ears. A cocoa brown poodle tiptoed along elegantly, looking this way, that was, and then this way, and that, and then zoom! Lizzie laughed as she watched a little brown-black dog blast by the others and scamper around the play area, zipping from the jungle gym to the slide to the seesaw and back around. It was a pug! He sniffed and snorted and wagged his curly tail. He made 3 circles before he even paused to sniff Lizzie's outstretched hand. "Aww," she said, bending to pat the dog's velvety black ears. He was just a puppy, really. His tan body shivered with joy as he licked her fingers. "Who's this, Aunt Amelia?" she asked Aunt Amelia. Aunt Amelia rolled her eyes and shook her head, but she was smiling. "This?" she said. "This is Pugsley, also known as Mr. Pest." Wow, Pugsley? That's a strange name for a pug. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. And I'll read you more next week on Monday. And I'll see you next time.